Hello, you are watching This Week in Student Government. I'm Jorie Palmer. Today we learn about a new piece of legislation in SGA and we meet with Vice President Tobias Kuhn. All this coming up next. CUInternetTV reporter Jenyann Roig interviewed Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs Sylvia Burgess. Burgess describes her job description in this week's In the Spotlight.
Sylvia Burgess has been named the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs responsible for adult and continuing education. She told us how she came to be the new Associate Vice President.
Well, I guess I got started in it when Dr. MacArthur, who's the Vice President for Academic Affairs, asked me if I would be willing to consider shifting job responsibilities. Prior to that, I served for 7 years as Dean of the School of Business here and moved a little over a year ago to the position of Associate Vice President in Academic Affairs and handled a number of things. I also continue to serve as the Campus Equal Opportunity Officer for issues of harassment or discrimination of any sort. When he asked me, when Dr. MacArthur asked me if I wanted to consider taking on these new responsibilities, Dr. Frank Zittel previously had the responsibilities that are currently under my area of responsibility, and he had taken another position and moved, so they were looking for a suitable candidate. It made some sense. One of the areas, there are several areas, one of the areas that is a large part of this responsibility is continuing education, and that includes developing new types of workshops, opportunities to provide service to the community, to area businesses. And I think that what is very exciting to me about that is that I have lots and lots of contacts as a strong member involved in the Chamber of Commerce, lots of contacts with area, not just Lawton area, but regional area business leaders, and opportunities to go visit with those leaders about opportunities for, not just for workshops, but the types of programs that can help those companies improve their services, improve their profitability, consider growing their companies, which means lots of more opportunities for internships, opportunities for Cameron University students to become more involved in providing workshop types of assistance to the area businesses, opportunities for those students to get more familiar with the area businesses as they grow, which means potentially lots more job opportunities for Cameron students, which is great. You know, that's always exciting.
Dr. Burgess went on to tell us about her other responsibilities as the new Associate Vice President, which includes the Reach Higher program, the Southwest Area Health Education Center, the Allied Health program, and the Blackboard program.
It's kind of a very broad spectrum of responsibility, but you know, it never gets boring. It's always interesting, always a chance to meet new people, figure out new ways to do great things, and Cameron has so many opportunities to offer to students, to the community. It's a thriving environment. Every day is a new opportunity, and you know, it's exciting to be a part of watching all that happen.
Burgess, who joined the CU faculty and staff in 1995, will ensure that Cameron University continues to provide quality services to meet the academic and regional community needs of the university's constituents. Reporting for CUInternetTV, I'm Jenyann Roig.
Vice President Tobias Kuhn joins us to talk about his new piece of legislation and update us on student government. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for inviting.
Now, recently one piece of legislation failed. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, there was a bill to actually establish a mailbox behind the village. And since there are facilities already, when there are opening times, it would only benefit when the McMahon Center is closed. So it was basically a fail because they said, or most people thought that the effort would be too much.
What was the purpose of having that in the first place? Why did they want that?
In certain intersession times, the McMahon Center is closed, or after 5 on weekends it is closed and you can't drop off mail. And if you work full day, so you would benefit from that, but on the other side you can also go to Sheplers or Student Union and drop off the mail there.
Now, there was also another piece of legislation that was brought up this week, and Our CUTV reporter Amanda Finch has footage of that legislation from Monday night's meeting.
It's back to the drawing board for senators and representatives who are in favor of placing a mail drop in the Cameron Village. Senator Tia Blanchett's resolution calling for the new mailbox moved into second reading on Monday night's meeting, but failed to pass by 6 votes. Students opposing the bill felt that there was no need for an additional mailbox on campus. The Black and Gold campaign is now in full swing after its kickoff last week. Students are logging many hours going out into the community talking to local businesses, hoping to gain more support for Cameron University. Students are asking businesses to show their support by displaying Cameron window decals and flags at their homes and businesses, or by offering student discounts. The Executive Council says in order for the campaign to be successful, we need as many students advocating for it as possible. If you would like to help with the Black and Gold campaign, contact Dean Holland on the 3rd floor in North Shepler. The newest legislation on the floor is calling for a professional dress code at the student government meetings. The legislation was written by the Legislative Committee, who claims that professionalism at the meetings has decreased because students come dressed too casually. They wish to increase the professionalism by requiring senators and representatives to wear either Cameron logo clothing or business attire to all SGA meetings. This piece of legislation was met with much opposition. Some students claim that it is too inconvenient for working students to be required to change their clothes for meetings. While the Legislative Committee claims a new dress code will increase attendance, others claim the inconvenience will cause attendance to decrease. The resolution went into debate and will continue to unfold next week during second reading. For This Week in Student Government, I'm Amanda Finch.
Thank you. Now, we saw some footage of this new legislation. What is your opinion on the dress code?
Well, actually, it comes out of my committee, the Legislative Committee, and the reason behind it is that somehow, compared to last semester, there are people less interested and have less motivation to do something. And I thought it was giving them some pep and tell them to either wear something with Cameron on it or being business casual, just to somehow get more spirit into the student government.
And it's only for student government meetings, or
Yes.
it's all organizations?
No, it is only for student government meetings.
Also, one of the points brought up was that it may make people less likely to be involved in student government. Do you think that would be a problem?
Well, actually, technically, if you have a baseball cap with the Cameron logo, you are fine with the rules. And it is just something to encourage the Cameron spirit, actually. And I don't think that somebody doesn't have anything from Cameron and is in the student government.
Do you think that anybody would be offended at you telling them what to wear?
Well, actually, we don't tell them what to wear. We just tell them that it would be really nice if they would have something with the Cameron logo or can come in business casual.
Okay, and you're working on some legislation yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Exactly. Me and some other senators, we want to establish a daycare center again at Cameron, like we had some years ago. It was closed because it was, as I heard, overfilled.
Okay.
And it was basically unfair. It was really hard to get a spot there. But now with the new building situation, we might have better options like the daycare center and also the student activities building right now, which will not be in the same use anymore after the new Centennial complex is there. So.
Didn't we already bring up something like that last year and it failed?
No, actually it never hit the floor.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that there's going to be a problem because there's so many issues involved in a daycare center? What are some of the ideas?
Well, of course, it has to be financed, but on the other side, there are private daycare centers in Lawton too, and they work too, and they work well. I don't think it should be something where Cameron has to pay into. I think it should be something which is self-financing, and it might need some start help, but I think there are also some possibilities to raise money for that in Oklahoma.
Okay, well, good luck with your legislation.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. That's all the time we have for this edition of This Week in Student Government. You can watch this show along with other CU TV programming on YouTube. Simply type CU Internet TV with no spaces and click search. On behalf of Dr. Matt Jenkins and the CU TV News crew, I'm Jorie Palmer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.